The council chamber of Archaean Prime glowed with polished stone, towering pillars, and the constant hum of power conduits hidden beneath the floor. Thousands of years of conquest were etched into its walls, wars won, species subdued, borders expanded until the empire believed itself untouchable. At the center of the hall hovered a hologram of a blue planet labeled in soft text, Earth, Priority, Low. High Chancellor Velith Archon reclined in his elevated seat, hands folded behind him in the posture of effortless control. Council members murmured among themselves, amused at the latest reports. A single scout frigate lost. A rapid mobilization of Earth's militaries. Minor resistance, they insisted. Nothing more than an enthusiastic primitive race. Next item, Velith announced, voice carrying the subtle edge of command. We entertain testimony from Commander RHAKL Voss, retired. Please indulge his concerns. The chamber fell into a half-hearted silence as the side doors parted. RHAKL Voss walked in with deliberate steps, each measured as if he were entering a battlefield rather than a political hall. His cybernetic left arm glimmered faintly beneath his uniform sleeve, and his remaining organic eye held a depth earned through decades of violence. Most in the chamber believed he was too damaged by war to serve. Few believed he still had something worth hearing. RHAKL stopped beneath the hologram. The rotating image of Earth illuminated the scars across his face. He said nothing at first. He let the silence stretch. The council grew restless. Velith smirked. Your testimony, Commander. RHAKL finally spoke. The reports you've received are not exaggerations. Earth is not what you think it is. Several councillors chuckled softly. Velith did not bother hiding his amusement. We've read your preliminary statements. You claim humans fought alongside you in the Zorkai Wars. That they were formidable. Explain. RHAKL inhaled slowly, as if steadying old wounds. I was deployed to the frontier 20 cycles ago. Our ship crashed after a Zorkai ambush. A human marine unit was trapped in the same region. I expected chaos. I expected fear. Instead, I found soldiers who adapted faster than any species I've encountered. They built defensive positions out of wreckage, improvised weapons from debris, and held the line against a superior enemy without hesitation. A councillor lifted an eyebrow. You are telling us primitive bipeds fought the Zorkai on equal footing? I'm telling you they survived what should have annihilated us all. RHAKL replied. They endure pain with a resolve that borders on insanity. They make decisions at speeds that defied biological limits. And when their people are threatened, they become something relentless. Murmurs rose again. Velith tapped a control panel, enlarging the hologram. Earth's technology is inferior. Their weapons are crude. Their fleets are negligible. What threat could they pose to an empire spanning 900 systems? You're not listening, RHAKL said, voice firm. Humans compensate for technological gaps through sheer adaptability. They innovate under pressure. They treat danger as a catalyst, not a deterrent. A younger military advisor leaned forward. Commander, can you provide specific examples of this adaptability? RHAKL nodded once. During the Zorkai siege, a human sergeant used debris from our crash transport to fashion a shield generator workaround in under an hour. He didn't know our systems, but he watched, tested, and completed a repair our engineers deemed impossible. They fought with broken limbs, bleeding heavily, refusing evacuation so long as civilians remained. Their psyche is wired to protect, even at the cost of themselves. The advisor looked unsettled. Velith, however, remained dismissive. One small incident does not represent an entire species, the Chancellor said. Our intelligence shows nothing exceptional. A fractured world with unpredictable politics. Their threat is symbolic, nothing more. RHAKL stepped closer to the central platform. If you believe Earth lacks unity, you should revise your intelligence. Every nation on that world has consolidated into a single defense coalition. Their militaries have combined resources. Their scientists are reverse engineering the wreckage from your scout craft. They're learning far faster than you anticipate. The chamber shifted. Confidence wavered. A thin line formed at the corner of Vilitha's mouth, irritation replacing amusement. You seem unusually invested in this matter. RHAKL held his gaze. Because humans died to save me. They had no reason to. I was an alien soldier dropped into their conflict, yet they treated me as one of their own. They showed loyalty I had never seen. And they showed ferocity that frightened even the Zorkai. Another counselor spoke timidly. You're implying the Empire might lose an invasion. I'm telling you, RHAKL said, that if you attack Earth, you will create an enemy unlike any you've faced. They don't retreat. They don't surrender. They adapt until they win. Vila stood, rising with theatrical gravity. We appreciate your recollections, Commander. Truly. But your fear has aged into exaggeration. Earth is a strategic asset, nothing more. Its resources will serve the Empire. Its people will submit. RHAKL felt his chest tighten. You misunderstand them entirely. Vilith dismissed him with a wave. We will proceed with the invasion. Your testimony is recorded and deemed noted. Gasps rippled through the chamber. Even those who doubted RHAKL understood the implications. A full Imperial assault on a developing world was extreme. RHAKL's voice hardened. Chancellor, if you do this, you will ignite a conflict that will spread beyond Earth. Humans do not fight only for themselves. They fight for each other. They unite against any threat. And they will never forget who fired the first shot. Vilitha's expression grew sharp. Enough. The Empire does not cower before primitives. RHAKL stared at the hologram of Earth one last time. The small, unassuming world spun slowly, unaware of the storm rising beyond its sky. The Chancellor raised his hand. Prepare the fleets. Begin mobilization. Earth will be brought under Imperial order within the cycle. The chamber applauded. Not all clapped with conviction. RHAKL turned away, shoulders heavy. He had delivered his warning. They had laughed. They had mocked him. They had chosen arrogance over reason. As he exited into the dim corridors, he whispered to himself. They think Earth is weak. They have no idea what waits for them. He paused, the echo of old memories stirring, of human soldiers standing in the dark, wounded yet unbroken, staring down an enemy with defiance carved into their bones. They will learn, he said quietly. But the lesson will come too late. And far above, the hologram continued spinning, a silent blue world destined to shatter the Empire's certainty. RHAKL Vaz stood on the balcony of the Imperial Archives, watching the pale glow of Archaean Prime's sunrise wash over the city. Towers shimmered like blades, each a testament to centuries of conquest. Yet all he saw was the shadow of a coming disaster. He had spent 3 days gathering evidence, intel fragments, intercepted transmissions, classified reports buried under bureaucratic layers. Each document painted the same picture: Earth was preparing with an intensity no primitive species should possess. He walked into the data vault, where a young archivist greeted him with an uneasy bow. Commander, the files you requested have been released under temporary clearance. But many were restricted by direct order of the Chancellor. I'm aware, RHAKL said. Show me what remains. The archivist projected a sequence of holographic files. Human military drills appeared first, formations moving with disciplined precision, soldiers coordinating with uncanny synchronization. Their gear was still rudimentary by Empire standards, but their tactics had shifted dramatically. Pause, RHAKL said. The hologram froze on human troops performing combat maneuvers in low-gravity chambers. Their adaptability was unmistakable. They weren't copying alien strategy. They were inventing their own. The archivist swallowed. How are they advancing this quickly? They're reacting to threat, RHAKL answered. Humans evolve in crisis. He closed the projection and moved to the next file. This time a fleet of experimental human ships filled the hologram, sleek, angular, fitted with weapons that pulsed with energy outputs far beyond their known power grids. Impossible, the archivist whispered. RHAKL shook his head. Not impossible. Motivated. He gathered everything into a secure data pad and left the archive. 2. RHAL confronts Velith again. Velith's private chamber overlooked the Imperial parade grounds, where soldiers drilled under artificial daylight. Their armor gleamed in ordered rows, a stark contrast to the raw ferocity RHAL remembered from Earth. Velith didn't turn when RHAL entered. "I didn't summon you. I'm not here for permission," RHAL said, placing the data pad on the Chancellor's desk. "You need to see this." Velith sighed with theatrical annoyance. "Please tell me you haven't returned with more tales of human miracles." RHAL tapped the pad. "Look." Velith activated the file. At first, he watched with detached skepticism. Then his posture stiffened. Human ships accelerated at unexpected velocities. Infantry units displayed coordination rivaling elite Empire formations. Engineers dismantled a captured drone and rebuilt its weapon core within minutes. "What am I seeing?" Velith muttered. "Adaptation," RHAL said. "Pure and unrestrained. The rate we predicted is outdated. Their global coalition is funneling every resource into defense." Velith's expression hardened. "They fear us." "No," RHAL replied. "They're preparing for a war they didn't choose." The Chancellor dismissed the hologram and faced him fully. "Your concern borders on obsession. You are defending them as if they are our allies. They saved my life. But that's not why I'm warning you." Velith's eyes narrowed. "Then why?" "Because I've fought alongside every species this Empire has ever encountered," RHAL said. "And only humans made the Zorkai hesitate." Velith gave a dry laugh. "Your memories have grown dramatic." RHAL leaned closer. "They refused to abandon their wounded, even while outnumbered. They developed new firing patterns mid-battle. They survived assaults that wiped out entire squads of trained alien soldiers. If you confront them, you will awaken that same resilience, magnified by unity." Velith folded his hands. "You speak with the conviction of a prophet. But I rule through evidence and reason, not emotion." RHAL's frustration sharpened. "Then consider new intelligence." Velith raised his chin. "I've seen enough. Earth is insignificant. Their resistance will collapse, and your warnings will be remembered as the ramblings of a veteran haunted by ghosts." He waved a hand. "This discussion is over." RHAL closed the data pad, jaw tight. "One day, Chancellor, you will understand why I fought to be heard." 3. The Marine called Cole. RHAL left the chamber but paused in the corridor, overwhelmed by a memory that refused to fade. He saw again the charred landscape of the Zorkai siege. Smoke drifted across fractured stone. Human Marines crouched beside alien soldiers, tending wounds with improvised supplies. Among them was Sergeant Cole, broad-shouldered, limping, face smeared with ash but eyes alight with determination. Cole had refused evacuation after a collapse shattered his leg. RHAL remembered shouting, "You can't fight like this!" Cole had grinned through the pain. "I can shoot, can I? Get me a rifle." "This is madness," RHAL had insisted. "No," Cole replied. "Madness is letting someone else die because I decided to rest." Those words had carved themselves into RHAL's mind. Humans endured agony without flinching. They fought beyond exhaustion. They improvised under pressure. They protected each other with ferocity unmatched by any warrior he'd known. It wasn't recklessness. It was devotion. And the Empire had no concept of it. 4. Cracks in the Empire. Over the following days, rumors spread through military channels. Young officers whispered that Earth was not the soft target propaganda portrayed. Scientists exchanged uneasy messages about anomalies in human tech evolution. Some even argued that diplomacy should be attempted before escalation. But Velith's voice dominated every chamber. His charisma drowned out caution. He insisted the Empire's supremacy was unchallenged. The few who doubted him remained silent. RHAL met with General Irulan, a once trusted colleague. "You know the truth," RHAL said. "Help me stop this." Irulan shook his head. Velith has consolidated power. Challenging him publicly would end my career, and yours. My career is already irrelevant, RHAL replied. I'm trying to prevent a war. Irolan hesitated. Even if you're right, it's too late. The fleets are preparing. RHAL walked away, feeling the weight of inevitability. 5. The Human Psychological Report. One night, an anonymous officer slipped him a restricted file. You didn't get this from me, the officer whispered before disappearing. RHAL opened the document. It was a xenological assessment of humanity. Exceptionally high emotional bandwidth. Rapid decision-making under stress. Social cohesion triggered by external threat. Extreme willingness to sacrifice. Innovates fastest when cornered. Capable of irrational yet effective strategies. The conclusion chilled him. Humans represent the most tactically unpredictable species encountered. Conflict escalation is strongly discouraged. Velith had sealed the report. Unread. Unacknowledged. 6. The breaking point, and the spark. During a strategic assembly, RHAL finally snapped. He rose from his seat and declared, Invading Earth is insanity. Their strength isn't in weapons, it's in will. You cannot measure their resolve through scanners. Velith thundered. Sit down, Commander. Or be removed. No, RHAL said. Not this time. The hall erupted in argument. Half shouted him down. A few listened. Before the uproar could settle, an officer rushed in, pale. Transmission from the Sol sector. An incident near Mars. Velith gestured sharply. Play it. A hologram flickered to life. An Empire recon cruiser approached Earth's orbital boundary. A sleek human vessel intercepted it with startling precision and disabled it in minutes. Then came a message, calm, unwavering. Imperial vessel, cease approach. We will not allow armed intrusion. We desire peace, but we will defend our world. The chamber went silent. Velith broke the stillness with a cold smile. So, they threaten us. That was not a threat, RHAL said. It was restraint. Velith's eyes glinted. Prepare full invasion protocols. RHAL felt something inside him fall silent. The chance for peace had vanished. The storm was coming. And the Empire had chosen it. The capital burst into celebration as the invasion fleets prepared for departure. Banners streamed from towers, crowds cheered in synchronized waves, and propaganda displays promised a swift victory over an insignificant frontier species. Fireworks illuminated the sky, reflecting off warships rising toward orbit in disciplined formations. RHAL Voss walked through the festivities in silence. Children waved miniature imperial flags. Vendors sold commemorative trinkets shaped like Earth. Every face glowed with pride, unaware of the catastrophe looming above them. He entered a quiet observation deck overlooking the launch platforms. Thousands of starships lifted from magnetic rails, engines pulsing with coordinated brilliance. It was the Empire's largest mobilization in centuries, an armada designed to crush entire civilizations. Against Earth, it was overkill. Against humans, it might still not be enough. A soft footstep behind him drew his attention. A young officer, barely past training age, saluted nervously. Commander Voss, sir, I was told you might be here. RHAL studied him. What do you need? The officer hesitated. Read the restricted psychological report before they sealed it. If even half of it is accurate, this invasion is a mistake. RHAL finished. Yes. The officer swallowed. But no one else will say it. They will, when fear replaces arrogance, RHAL said. But by then, it will be too late. He left the officer without waiting for a reply. 2. A last attempt at warning humanity. RHAL returned to his quarters, sealed the door, and retrieved an old encrypted communicator, obsolete by Imperial standards but not forgotten by those who once fought in the Zorkai trenches. It carried frequencies humans had shared with him during the war, reserved for emergencies. He activated it. Static crackled, then a familiar resonance responded. Unidentified sender, state your purpose. RHAKL leaned forward. This is Commander RHAKL Voss of the Salanthri Empire. I fought beside Apex Marine Unit Theta during the Zorkai conflict. Silence followed, tense and searching. Then a voice answered, steady, calm, unmistakably human. Commander Voss. We remember you. What do you need? He exhaled. The Empire is coming. Not a scouting party. An entire armada. We assumed this would happen, the human replied. Your warning is appreciated. You must prepare for more than a border skirmish, RHAKL said. They intend to subjugate Earth completely. We will not be subjugated. RHAKL closed his eyes. I know. A second voice entered the channel, older, authoritative. Commander, you risk treason contacting us. I know that as well. We will remember your integrity, the older voice said. And we will be ready. You should take care. War from the inside is never simple. The transmission ended. RHAKL stared at the communicator for a long moment, knowing he had crossed a line from which there was no return. 3. Earth prepares. Across the void, Earth surged into coordinated action. Apex Command's synchronized orbital defense networks, linking satellites, railgun platforms, and kinetic interceptors into a single, globe-spanning architecture. Cities dimmed their power grids to funnel energy into shield systems. Subterranean bunkers activated across continents. Cybernetically enhanced infantry prepared for deployment. Drone factories worked without pause, pumping out swarms designed to learn and adapt mid-combat. Human scientists ignited gravity rift generators, a technology they had reverse-engineered from mere fragments of Imperial wreckage. These devices could destabilize entry points where the Empire's fleets would emerge from warp. Humanity moved with purpose, unity, and quiet determination. No panic. No speeches promising glory. Only resolve. 4. The Empire arrives in the Sol system. Hours later, the Armada reached Earth's outer boundary. Imperial commanders expected to find a tranquil system awaiting conquest. Instead, they emerged into chaos. As the first wave exited warp, gravitational anomalies twisted space like liquid metal. Several dreadnoughts buckled instantly, hulls folding under impossible forces. Destroyers collided as their trajectories warped out of alignment. Shockwaves rippled across the fleet, broadcasting alarms through every vessel. Unknown interference, a captain shouted. Space-time irregularities, originating from Earth. RHAKL, watching from the command ship, felt dread tighten in his chest. The second wave emerged more cautiously but still suffered heavy losses. Those who stabilized their course stared at Earth with disbelief. The planet glowed with a lattice of energy shields encircling its surface like a shimmering shell. Orbital cannons locked onto their positions with surgical precision. Earth looked nothing like a primitive world. It looked prepared. 5. Humanity strikes back. Human commanders wasted no time. Swarms of drones accelerated toward the Armada, moving with organic fluidity. Each cluster shifted patterns mid-flight, splitting, recombining, and adjusting trajectories in response to Imperial countermeasures. Imperial frigates fired energy beams into the swarm, but the drones adapted instantly. Some absorbed the energy and redirected it, others disrupted targeting sensors, turning the battle into a maze of false signals. A squadron of human interceptors streaked through the chaos, impossibly agile, performing maneuvers that violated safety thresholds. Imperial pilots attempted to follow but lost control, sending their fighters spiraling. On the command ship's bridge, panic spread across the console displays. They're jamming our tactical grid! Our shields are destabilizing! We've never seen flight behavior like this! RHAKL closed his eyes. This is what I warned you of. Velith glared at him. We are the Empire. We do not lose. But loss was no longer hypothetical. It was unfolding in real time. 6. Velith refuses to retreat. Despite overwhelming evidence, Velith refused to issue a withdrawal order. He barked commands demanding direct assaults, sacrificing ships for symbolic salvos that achieved nothing. Chancellor, RHAL said, stepping toward him, you are condemning thousands to pointless deaths. Velith snapped. You forget your place. No, RHAL replied. You have forgotten yours. Velith signaled security, but several officers moved between him and RHAL. A lieutenant said quietly, Sir, we cannot obey self-destructive orders. Mutiny spread through the bridge like a spark dropping into dry tinder. Officers who had followed Velith for decades now stepped away from him. Finally, General Koz stepped forward. Chancellor Archon, you are relieved of command. Velith's face twisted with disbelief. For this species? For survival, Koz said. Velith was escorted away in stunned silence. 7. Humanity's broadcast. Moments later, every Imperial vessel received a transmission. A human commander appeared, calm, composed, unwavering. Imperial fleet. Stand down. We did not choose this war. But we will defend our world. Withdraw, and we will not pursue. Continue, and we will respond decisively. RHAL felt the weight of the moment settle in his chest. This was not bravado. It was a promise. General Koz issued the order Velith never would. All ships retreat. Immediately. The Armada turned away from Earth, battered, humiliated, but alive. 8. Aftermath, and a new path. Back on Archaean Prime, Imperial citizens watched in stunned silence as the truth unfolded across public channels. The myth of invincibility shattered. The Chancellor was removed from power. Investigations began. And for the first time in centuries, the Empire reconsidered its place in the galaxy. RHAL stood on the council balcony, observing the uncertain dawn. He had prevented extinction, but not disgrace. Still, the outcome was far gentler than what humanity could have delivered. A secure message appeared on his communicator. Commander Voss, Earth thanks you. Apex Command is open to diplomatic talks. You are invited as liaison. RHAL allowed himself a rare smile. They finally listened, he murmured. But only after humanity made them. He turned toward the horizon, ready for the role he was destined to play, the bridge between two worlds that might one day stand as allies rather than enemies. The galaxy had been warned. And now it understood.